Hello students, how are you all? I hope that you all will be fine. Guys, myself Jiten Singh Jitu sir, your English teacher. Today in this video we are going to discuss the next part of the chapter Lost Spring. In the last video we have already studied till even more, and today we will start from I sometimes find a rupee, even a 10 rupee note, Sahib says, his eyes lighting up. When you can find a silver coin in a heap of garbage, you don't stop scrounging, for there is hope of finding more. It means the writer tells us here that she asked the boy Sahib about searching in the garbage. Then the boy Sahib replied that he sometimes finds some money in the garbage, sometimes find a rupee and sometimes 10 rupee note. So he looks very happy, and sometimes he can find silver coins in the heap of garbage. That is why they do not stop searching in the garbage. You don't stop scrounging for his hope of finding more. It seems that for a children for children garbage has a meaning different from what it means to their parents. So it means that the garbage has two different meanings for the children. It was a pleasurous thing for the children, while it was not so with the parents. It was different for them. For the children, it is wrapped in wonder. For the elders, it is a means of survival. It means searching the garbage was a mean of survival for the parents and for the elder ones. One winter morning, I see Sahib standing by the fenced gate of the neighborhood club, watching two young men dressed in white playing tennis. It means one winter morning, the writer saw Sahib standing by the fence of a club. He was watching a tennis game being played by two young men. Sahib liked the game but could not play it. He hums, content to watch it standing behind the fence. I go inside when no one is around. He admits the gatekeeper lets me use the swing. So it means the boy told the writer that he went inside the club when it would be closed. He was allowed to take swings by the guard there. Sahib is wearing tennis shoes that look strange over his discolored shirt and shorts. Someone gave them to me, he says in the manner of an explanation. Here, the writer says that Sahib was also wearing some tennis shoes. They did not look appropriate with his dress, which was worn out and had faded. He told the writer in an attempt to justifying himself that someone gave him the shoes. The fact that they are discarded shoes of some rich boy who perhaps refused to wear them because of a hole in one of them does not bother him. So it means the boy told the writer in an attempt to justify himself that someone gave him the shoes. She, however, the writer figured out that he had got them from a garbage dump. They must have been thrown away by a boy from a rich family as he didn't want to wear them anymore. For one who has walked barefoot, even shoes with a hole is a dream come true. But the game he is watching so intently is out of his reach. Probably they had a hole or two in them, due to which he did not want to wear them. On the contrary, Sahib was not bothered by this fact and had no problem wearing them, as he could not afford anything better than that. He walked barefoot, and to wear a shoe even with a hole was like a dream for him. Although due to the garbage dump, Sahib's dream of wearing shoes had been particularly fulfilled, but his desire to play tennis would never be fulfilled. This morning, Sahib is on his way to the milk booth. In his hand is a steel canister. I know, I now work in a tea stall down the road. He says, pointing in the distance, I am paid 400 rupees and my meals. Does he like the job? I ask. His face, I see, has lost the carefree look. The steel canister seems heavier than the plastic bag he would carry so lightly. So it means one morning the writer met Sahib, who was on his way to the milk booth. He was holding a steel container. He told her that he had got a job at the nearby tea stall. He would earn 800 rupees a month and get meals too. The writer asked him if he liked the job, as he could see that he has lost the carefree look, as now Sahib was working for someone else and was carrying his master's container. The bag was his. The container belongs to the man who owns the tea shop. Sahib is no longer his own master. So it means he is carrying his master's container. He was burdened with responsibility. Earlier, as a rag picker, Sahib would carry his own bag and was his own master. Now he was no longer his own master. Now he was the servant of someone else. I want to drive a car. Mukesh insists on being his own master. I will be a motor mechanic, he announces. Means the writer met a boy named Mukesh who aspired to become a motor mechanic. Do you know anything about cars? I ask. I will learn to drive a car, he answers, looking straight into my eyes. His dream looms like a mirage amidst the dust of streets that fill his town Firozabad, famous for its bangles. So it means she asked him if he knew anything about cars. Then the boy said that he was confident and replied that he would learn to drive a car. His dream was far away from reality, and although the boy was confident he would succumb to the social pressure, he lived in Firozabad, which was famous for glass bangles. Every other family in Firozabad is engaged in making bangles. It is the center of India's glass blowing industry, where families have spent generations working around furnaces, welding glass, making bangles for all the women in the land, it seems. So it means the writer felt that the boy's dream would not materialize and gradually get influenced by the dusty streets of Firozabad. She wanted to say that as every family in the town of Firozabad was involved in the glass bangle industry, so would Mukesh do with the passage of time. She tells us that Firozabad was the main town of India for the glass blowing industry. The families had been involved in working and furnaces, the welding glass, and making bangles for the generations. They made so many bangles that it seemed that they made bangles for all the women of the world. Mukesh family is among them. मुकेश का परिवार भी उन्हीं में से एक था. None of them know that it is illegal for children like him to work in the glass furnaces with high temperature, in dingy cells without air and light, that the law, if enforced, could get him and all those 20,000 children out of the hot furnaces where they slog their daylight hours, often losing the brightness of their eyes. So guys, it means Mukesh family was also involved in the profession of glass bangles, making they were not aware of the law. They did not know that it was unlawful to force children to work in such glass furnaces. The workplaces were hot, dark, closed rooms without ventilation. The writer felt that if the law would come to force, it would rescue almost 20,000 children from these inhuman places where they were forced to work hard during the daytime. They often ended up losing their eyesight also. So guys, it was the next part of this chapter. Now we will discuss about the next part of this chapter in the next video. Till then, thank you, bye bye.